Throughout my time investigating the mystery of Oak Island, the possible existence of treasure, the artifacts, and most notably the people who have been involved, I have realized something that will become evident to anyone willing to delve into the vast amount of information available regarding the quest. The road to, shall we say, enlightenment, is very bumpy indeed, filled with outlandish claims, theories and accusations, ready to pull your attention in many different directions, mostly leading you to dead ends, all for what lay at the bottom of a pit, on a small island among many, in a quiet corner of the world, called Nova Scotia. Confusion will envelop and inevitable defeat will beckon to any susceptible victim. All this, I suspect, is by design. You see, I have found patterns during my investigations, things and information that people have worked very hard to keep concealed for many years. This information would lead me on a journey of first curiosity, then skepticism, then disbelief, to ultimate amazement. When researching the quest, many people have very interesting theories, but they are all lacking in hard evidence. There is, however, a theory that exists for the island that does involve evidence, and implicates an awful lot of people in support of it. I became shocked to find that certain groups of people have been aware of what has been hidden on the island since around the time it was buried, or very shortly after. I have also established that the original story of McGuinness and his friends to be that of a fictional one, stuffed full of Masonic symbology, and designed to create a stir of interest around the island. There was indeed a group of individuals that needed help in finding the treasure. However, due to the evidence I have uncovered, the story of the boys locating the treasure is now highly unlikely. The Masonic symbology make it nothing more than a coded mockery thrown at the public. The Onslow Company, for instance, supposedly set up by the boys shortly after they and only they knew of the pit's existence, was completely made up of Freemasons of the time. My accusation would clearly be that the Freemasons knew what was hidden on the island. This would only be a suspected accusation were it not for Father Lavender Johnson, a highly regarded Freemason, actually publishing what could only be described as a confession in the form of a pamphlet, which is available on the web, where he confirms he knows the whereabouts of the Oak Island treasure map, and details some of the artifacts on the island key to unlocking the treasure's location. My previous two videos go into detail regarding the Masonic connection throughout the years, the public and not so public figures involved in the hunt, including presidents and kings of England. Their connections to the island allow you, by logic, to abandon all other theories that do not involve Freemasonry. Most notably is the connection found in the private documents of a deceased 33rd degree Mason, where it describes the Order of the Templar, cornered in Glastonbury. This key fragment of information is more important than the stone tablet in unlocking the treasure. The Freemasons in the late 1600s were consuming and destroying the Templars. The last remaining knights in England were holed up in Glastonbury, coincidentally where the UK holds its largest music festival each year. They had in their possession their last remaining and most important treasure, the Holy Grail. The Prime Minister of England at the time was trying to seize it from them, with the power of the King and Masons behind him. There are secret societies that have been able to communicate over continents for hundreds of years, famously bragging in doing so, such as Jesuit order priests being quoted as such. The Chalice somehow managed to escape. The note details the captured knights being led to the Tower of London for torture. Strong evidence exists that the knights were able to travel the world. For example, Templar clothing has been found buried in a churchyard in England, with Egyptian stones sewn into them, linking to recorded accounts of Knights Templar in the locations at the time. The knights tortured in the tower, presumably, eventually told them of the island, or they found out about its location by other means. There the English and the Masons locate the tackle block and the fresh depression in the ground, linking to public knowledge of the history of the island. If you were hiding a treasure on an island that your enemy may be looking for, and you are a religious Templar, what would you do? What would you do to assure that if you cannot come back for it in the near future and someone may be digging for it, what would you do to give yourself peace of mind, that they would never find it? Once this scenario enters the equation, things begin to make sense. The stones that are believed to have religious importance, the coconut fibers, the cross covering the span of the island, and most importantly the booby trap. They are also records and evidence of an ammo dump being dug in on the island. In all possibility the Templars ordered this dig, and then finally tunneled to hide the treasure and complete the booby traps. I also found out from Lavender, and also confirming the calculation's authenticity myself, that the Freemasons did eventually figure out where the real treasure map was, not the decoy stone tablet within the pit. Not before a few dozen of his pals demolished half the island, blown up half the shoreline with dynamite, and carved into the bedrock of Earth, of course. If you were hiding a treasure, why would you go to the trouble of carving a substitution cipher into a stone tablet, encouraging people to dig further, when they have already got to 90 feet looking for it? The reason would be to keep your treasure hidden, rather than expose its location, in a place where the diggers for it would already be. You would create it in such a way that anyone reading it would continue to dig, and only a few more feet would set off the booby trap, flooding the treasure shaft forever. They figured out where the treasure map was, the true one, not the decoy stone tablet. The cross that was found on Oak Island is the actual treasure map. I will put the info up on how they worked it out now. With this information, you can also establish why they haven't just dug it up. Whoever figured out the map is pretty smart. They figured out and even explained how the knights hid the dots of the cross's angles to conceal the directions further. If we were in 1795, then the map would point us to the treasure via true north. But since the poles are constantly shifting location, the masons had no way of knowing where true north was in 1795. The map is useless, and because the tunnels are flooded, the treasure may indeed be lost forever. The stone tablet has also proven to be a huge success as a distraction. When the initial retrieval dig was happening and the stone was uncovered, they even failed to decode the simple cipher, deciding to continue digging anyway. So in reality they set off the trap without the stone tablet even being a factor. The person or people who figured out how to hide this artifact were smart enough to realize that the people coming for it would dig in greed, and were able to create a booby trap for a treasure in the 1700s that uses the entire sea as its guard, and that no one until now has been able to figure out what they did or how they did it, maybe even knowing that as time goes on, it would become harder and harder to recover it, until it now seems impossible. The cross, which is indeed the real treasure map, is a Christian cross. Lots more overwhelming evidence linking the religious Templars, Christianity and Masons to the island now exists in my possession, linking this to the information found in a Freemason's possessions, and also adding a public confession from a Masonic priest which displays what they know, why they haven't found what's there, shows that they do indeed seem desperate to save it from the sea, or desperate to have it in their hands. This is indeed the most likely reason. I feel that I and others have been encouraged to devote time, energy, finances and knowledge to the subject in question. It seems from the start this was their plan, to create a story surrounding a treasure. Conveniently, no one could tie to anyone, or find a suitable candidate for hiding, with physical historical data or evidence alone anyway. A cover-up, as it were. In its place, to create a fantastic story, one that would quench any treasure hunter's curiosities as to confirmation that they were indeed looking for payload. All the while attempting to, and to a certain degree successfully concealing the true nature of this treasure hunt, the true nature of the importance of the pit, and the fact that many have died in their effort to conceal it from certain entities. Unfortunately for them, however, they have left a trail, a connection that for a very long time remained hidden behind secret rites and rituals, behind closed doors of rich lodges, and even the White House. This connection is overwhelming, their involvement is such, which continues to this day, sure confirmation that they haven't got their hands on it yet. Please do not comment with doubts surrounding these connections and also criticizing my research without first reviewing all of which I have put forward thus far in the previous videos. Thank you. This quest has led us full circle to this point. It seems Keith Ranville's work, in which I initially looked into on these videos, regarding other possible tunnels is indeed intriguing. The fact that he has discovered evidence of other shafts and possible treasure shafts, leading from the money pit, means our research and the conclusive theory thereof have met and joined the same track of thinking. This is becoming very interesting indeed. All paths seem to be leading to Rome. Let's just hope there isn't a sword at the end.